What's going on, guys? It's Elias. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sitting here in my old raggedy torn up clothes because I'm about to actually almost finish up my Civic Type R. But before I do, I wanted to do a quick update. It's been quite a long time since I've given you guys an update, so I wanted to do a quick little update here, upload this and release it today so that you guys could understand what's going on with my Civic Type R and share with you guys why, if you have a project car, if you're thinking about a project car, why it really takes way longer than you expect if you're doing it right. So I think there are 5 reasons why that is, and I'm going to go through them with you in detail here. So stick around if you want to learn about that. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button. 95% of you guys that watch the videos don't subscribe to the channel. That really does hurt, and it's kind of one of the other reasons why I haven't been uploading as much anymore. I also have a BitChute channel, so if you want to use YouTube, obviously you find me on here, but if you want to use BitChute, I'm also in BitChute. So go head over there. I'll put a link in the description as always. Now let's go ahead and get started with the 5 reasons why project cars, if you're doing it right, take way too long. So the first reason is really going to be, as you start digging into your car, your project car, my race car, you start finding things that need repairs. And it could be, things like a little bit of rust, it could be some cracked hoses and things like that. There's 2 things that I found on my Type R when I tore it apart. Let's take a look at a close look here. So this is the charge pipe, as you see right here. This charge pipe is actually a pretty common issue with Type Rs that are tuned for more power. This charge pipe can get a little bit loose and requires an extra amount of, I guess, ooga-doogas to get that tightened up. So I had to actually loosen this up, put it on there nice and tight and snug. It was actually extremely loose, and you can see some carbon deposits on the outsides, meaning that this was leaking for sure. So I found my boost leak and I fixed it. The other thing I wanted to show you guys is this right here. So these are the downpipe support mounts, and this also supports the exhaust. These got really rusted out on my Type R. I don't really understand how it can get that rusty in such a short amount of time. I guess if you use it in the winter, that's what's going to happen. But these are the kind of things that you find as you fix your project car. If you get your project car going, you'll need to find and make repairs to those items in order for you to have a properly working project car. If you're doing it right, you're going to take the time and actually do it. So I had to order paint, a highly resistant black paint. I went ahead and sanded everything down. I think I have a sander somewhere in here. Maybe. Not a big deal. But I sanded down the metal. I got its bare metal. I put Rust-Oleum on it, spray painted it, 2 coats on it just to make sure it's all good. And then the other thing was the boost pipe. Like I said, I already showed you how to fix that. So repairing it is what you got to do while you go through it. So for this next one, we're under the car. And yes, I am going to be building a workshop this year, so I don't have to do this again. I hate being on asphalt on the ground. Luckily I'm using this thing, but even with this thing it sucks. This can also delay things if you get super tired, but we won't talk about that today. The next thing is, as you basically tear the car apart and find spots for more upgrades, you tend to do those if you're doing it right. So let's take a close look here. This is the front pipe. This is the PRL front pipe that I've installed. But as you can see, that's the oil pan right there. So this is the oil pan right here. And if you guys notice, I installed a heat shield, a separate heat shield on the engine and oil pan to protect it from any heat that this would create. Now, I did already wrap this. I made a video on how to wrap it and everything like that. I'll release that as soon as I have time to edit videos. All of my time, my spare time to these days is going into finishing up my race car, my Type R. So that's why I haven't done anything. But this is an example of this right here. I added a heat shield right there, and it's gonna help reduce engine heat going from here to there. So this is the type of stuff that as you go and remove things from your car and start upgrading stuff, you're gonna want to take a look at those things and see what you can do to improve the engineering of the vehicle. Now this next part you may only think applies to cheap Japanese plastic crap, but these days every car uses plastic clips for everything. And even restoring old Mustangs, for example, you're going to want to replace fasteners, whether they be plastic or not. And this fastener right here is what I'm talking about. I had to order like 300 of these, because basically every time you remove one of these fasteners nowadays on my Type R, you're breaking them. And I'm very careful with it. I have tools in order to take those off very gently. but I'd say about half of the clips that I have, these are bumper clips. These hold down the underbody panels and things like that. You're gonna want to buy a whole bunch of these. And actually, it was supply constraints due to the pandemic we've all been dealing with. So I had to wait about 3 weeks before getting new ones of these. So I couldn't even put the car together until these came in. So not just this though, there's a lot of plastic little pieces and bits that can crack and break off, not just in this car, but I have a Prelude that's have had the same issue. And if you're like me, if you're doing the project car correctly, you're gonna want to replace them as soon as you can, especially if you're getting in there already. If you're already taking it out, you're gonna have to put it back in anyway. You don't want to put in a little crappy thing like this. I mean, you can see it, it's cracked and destroyed. Don't put that back in there. Do it the right way. That's taken me a ton of time to get all the particular ones, because there's different ones too. So there's little screws, there's little 10mm screws that go all over the place in different places. There's these types of little pop caps or whatever they're called. There's other types of clips that go pretty much in every direction in this car, and I've ordered them as I go along, and then I do one big order at Honda Parts Now or wherever the case may be. You can get your parts at different places, but it takes a while for you to make sure that these are replaced properly. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So for this next one, it's happened to me every single time I've built a car, and I try to do it so that I ordered everything in advance. I had all of the upgrades in advance for this car, but even with this car, I still ended up ordering a whole bunch of extra stuff as I went along. So for example, I ordered this heat shield. This is the heat shield that I used to protect the oil pan from heat. I also put this on the slave cylinder on the transmission, so I'll show you that at some point. And it's really helpful to stop any heat from getting into that. It's like DEI reflective tape, which I also bought a whole bunch of, so I have some here. So as you can see, it's a lot. So another thing I had to do is wrap this. This is the intake box. I'm going to put some more wrap on it just to protect it from the heat. But also, this was released as I was building my vehicle, my Type R. So I was looking through Acuity. Acuity is a very good brand. If you guys don't know about them, they're an awesome company. They do a lot of cool stuff for Civics. So they released their cooler mods. There's radiator cooling hoses. It's a reverse flow. So I'm going to install these along with my Koyo radiator, right? So I've had this radiator for like 2 years now, but this just came out recently, and I'm glad I was building my car during the time, because since the car is apart already, might as well order these. This took about 2 weeks to get in. They were back ordered, and like everything else basically here, everything is back ordered these days, and it's taking forever, but it's worthwhile to actually do it while you can. It's worth the wait, and that's what's taking me so damn long. It'll take you long as well. And the next and final thing that really delays project cars is the principle that I like to call the measure twice, cut once method. And if you're rushing through a project, if you're kind of just going through the paces and just trying to get it quickly done, you don't necessarily measure twice, cut once. You kind of just try to throw things together, and if it doesn't work necessarily, then you may take it off and you may have to replace it again or whatever the case may be. My mentality is, take your time, be meticulous, measure twice, cut once, right? So, for example, this is a race bred components splitter bracket. A gigantic splitter is going to be installed in this vehicle. It's already going to be, it's already basically installed. I just got to put the blade on and set the height, and I can set the height using these. But I was very meticulous about where I was going to put it, so I didn't want to interfere with the brake dust. So you can see here the brake ducts. This is very helpful to keep the front brakes cooled down. I didn't want to interfere, so I had to modify the bracket a little bit, and then I had to make sure that I cut the holes in a proper place where it's going to be very strong. It has to be chassis mounted, so I chassis mounted it right up there, and then I relocated the horns. So you see right there, the horns are relocated. The horns actually take up this whole space usually, but because I wanted to use the bracket there, I remounted the horns using existing brackets. So I took the brackets off, I remounted everything, and I put them more outward facing. They're probably not going to sound as well as they did from factory, but I don't really care. I do want a functional horn. It's kind of important to have that, and you won't pass inspection. By the way, if you have to pass inspection, you won't be able to pass it. I don't have to pass inspection, but just information for you guys. But the principle here is measure twice, cut once. Take your time, make sure it's correct. You don't see, me cutting up my bumper support beam like crazy. All I did was I put 2 holes in because I measured correctly. I drilled the holes in there. I dropped in the little bracket support right there. I had to sand down a little bit right there just to get the piece in there, and it worked perfectly fine. This right here, if you're wondering, is the USR tow hook for the Type R. It works right. It's literally worked because my Type R was towed from here a number of times. Anyway, guys, I just hope I just wanted to get this video out to you guys today. A short video, a video I don't have to edit and sit down and edit, because like I said, every spare minute that I have has gone to getting this car and my S2000 and my other project cars ready to go so that I can start enjoying them finally. Right now I'm basically riding around my motorcycle, which hasn't been great, but a lot of videos are going to be coming out. I filmed, I think, I don't know, 20 videos of me taking this apart, videos of recommendations, how-to videos, very short how-to videos, like 5-minute long how-to videos on how to install a couple things here, and just a number of different things that you guys are going to enjoy. But if you guys want to watch that, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, guys. I really appreciate when you do that. Let me know in the comments if there are other things that can delay project cars. I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts. I always read the comments. I read pretty much every comment. I don't necessarily have time to respond to all of them. I get a lot. But I try to read and respond to as many comments as possible. Sometimes YouTube doesn't even give me notifications on them, which is annoying. But if I do get a notification, I will respond to it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys as always. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.